Hi, I'm Ben, and I'm here with Ryan Woodfill. He is, if you didn't listen to the podcast, well, you should. But he is the head brewer here at Canal Park Brewing Company, and we are in the brewing room, the whole operation. You can see all this stuff going on here, but
show them Yoda up there too, if you can get that in.
Yoda, that is right there. So, did you put that there?
Yeah. No, I didn't. It was here whenever I started working.
Gotcha.
Here.
My kids are big on Star Wars.
Yeah, it kind of oversees the whole brewing process.
Gotcha. That's good. That's awesome. All right, so what we're going to do, Ryan's going to kind of walk us through, I don't know, his process of making beer and show us some of the parts. And
yeah, this is all the fun stuff, so we'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah, so beginning of the day, everything kind of starts down here. This is our main control panel, and this is kind of what I was mentioning before, is everything can really just be dialed in and controlled on here, just giving us a really consistent brew batch to batch. So on the screen, we start out with our mash mixer. This is where we're going to do the mashing process, again, when we're adding our water in with the grain. One thing I really like about this system is that we can just program the different beers that we want in here.
oh, geez, right there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? And out of these 7 right here, what would you get?
Ooh, out of the 7,
We have a stout, triple, nut brown IPA, ESB, wheat, pale ale.
End of the day, I'm usually just going with an IPA or Stone Surf IPA. So we can just program the different temperatures that we want on here. If we need to make adjustments, it's as easy as just, changing it right on the screen. So
it's a little bit different. So I don't know your age, but you're
33.
Yeah. So okay. So you're
old enough to drink.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying is when you were learning all this stuff,
yeah.
You were learning it not by programming things in. You were learning. Okay, it's got to be this degrees. We got to test this. We have to do all this stuff, right?
Yep.
So this is like once you already know that.
Oh yeah, this is like
doing it like this.
Yeah, this is like Cadillac of brewing. And this is, I should mention, this system is made by DME, the really well-known brewing equipment.
Okay.
Fabricator. So it's a really good high quality system. But yeah, let's go check out the tanks.
All right.
So this is the mash mixer right here. I just brewed on this guy yesterday. Right outside we've got our silo that holds all the malt. All that malt is going to come in, we're going to crush it up, and it goes into this guy right here.
And that malt, that's just your standard malt?
Yeah, that's our base malt,
yeah.
So we'll add specialty malts depending on the recipe. Let's say we're doing our IPA, we've got some caramel malts in there, some malts that kind of help out with head retention, things like that. It all gets kind of just gravity fed down this tube, mixed in with water. And on the inside of here, we've got a couple paddles that just spin around and keep all this going in suspension. There are 2 steam zones on this vessel as well. That's what keeps it hot. That's what heats it up. We can go from about 113 degrees we start out with up to like 140, 150 pretty rapidly, which is really important. Then after that, we're going into our water sun or separation vessel, which is just this guy right here.
So this is separating the water from the grains?
Correct, yep. Okay. So we're going to get that nice sugary wort that we need. One thing I didn't mention on the podcast too, I don't know if you can see in there or not, there's a little porthole down there. You can see some light shining through. I don't know if you can get that on the camera or not.
There.
Yeah, so that's how we empty this guy out. And we've got a local farmer that comes and picks up all this spent grain.
Does he feed it to pigs or something?
He feeds it to cows. Yep, it's cattle feed. All it is just protein and moisture pretty much, and it's pretty good. So yeah, he picks up from another brewery in town as well, so he's got plenty of cattle feed coming. Otherwise we would just throw it out.
Right.
It's just no use to us anymore.
Yep.
So that's this vessel.
How much, like gallon-wise, what are we talking, like when you're, especially when it's...
Typical batch is anywhere from like 300 upwards to 500 gallons of water mixed in with that grain, A pretty standard batch for us is about 1,000 pounds of grain going into it. Okay. For 15 barrels.
And water-wise? Like it would be one thing to just have a pipe right in the lake, but how does that work?
Yeah, we're getting our hot water from this vessel right here.
Okay.
So we do use a lot of water. It goes into a batch of beer.
Okay.
Our batch sizes are 15 barrels, which is 1 barrel is basically 2 kegs. Okay. So each batch we're doing is about 30 kegs of beer. So we're putting that much water into it. Try not to waste too much or whatever, but there's a little bit of waste waste in the process and with cleaning and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what do we have here?
So this is our kettle. This is basically all that wort is going to get transferred into this this vessel and boiled for 1 hour. We're going to throw our hops in there. It's going to get all sanitized and ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's, you know, pretty much the short version of it. This is going to be a good, you know, 6-hour day up here doing all this stuff, a lot of tests and stuff like that going on.
So you're just constantly sticking something in there and pulling it out and testing it?
Yeah. We do a lot of tests, and there's just, you know, each part of the process takes its own time. So.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for these 3 vessels.
Okay.
This is what I kind of consider the hot side of brewing.
All right, so we're gonna head down here and see what we got. Besides Yoda.
Yeah.
It's a big Yoda.
So once we're done with the boil, our wort's actually going to transfer through this little blue box right here. It looks like a radiator.
Yep.
That's our heat exchanger.
Okay.
So we just got cold water supply going into that. It cools those plates down. So as soon as that boiling wort hits those plates, it cools down.
Just a big radiator.
Yeah, now that water that is going in there is going to come out hot since it's exchanging the heat. So one cool thing about this system is we've got that hot water supply rerouted to fill this tank up. And this is our hot liquor tank, so let's say I'm brewing tomorrow, we'll fill this thing up, it's already hot and ready to go, and just reuse that water.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll come down here. This is the cellar, which is you know, what it's historically known as. Obviously, we're not walking down anywhere.
Right.
But this is our fermentation tank. So I've actually got this tank already set up for transfer. This is a brew that I did yesterday. This is our Nuthatch Brown Ale.
Okay.
So you can see it's coming out of this stainless steel line right here, and we're just filling this tank up right from the bottom. Got a really active fermentation going on right here. So this is what's going on right now in this tank. The yeast that we added to that wort is just eating away at these sugars, and it's kind of a violent process. There's a lot of CO2 being produced and just bubbling up. You can see a lot of foam kind of coming out. So that's what I like to see. That's a really healthy fermentation. That means this is going to be pretty consistent with the other batches that we've been making. We shouldn't have any problems with this one.
How do you know if you do have problems? Like, when do you judge just by testing it? Or
I mean, you wouldn't see any activity going on. And one thing that we do is we just monitor the gravity. So when we transferred this beer over there yesterday, it has a specific gravity as the measurement, and that's just going to measure the density of the sugars.
Okay.
As the yeast eats away, that specific gravity is going to drop lower and lower until eventually.
And what do you use to measure the specific
it's a tool
gravity?
called a hydrometer.
Okay.
Yep.
The reason I'm asking is it's basically the same thing I was making maple syrup yesterday.
Sure.
First time we just moved, I started tapping trees this year, and like using that hydrometer, it's fun because I'm like, all right, I'm almost there.
Yeah, it's nothing too crazy. It's just a really simple test, but we just want to monitor that and just see how it's dropping.
How often? What would make it not? Like what contamination of some sort, or like
not having healthy yeast, not enough yeast.
Okay. Does that happen often or not?
It shouldn't happen. There's a lot of steps that go to make sure that we're not doing that.
Right.
But, you know, back in my homebrew days, maybe.
Yeah, your whole process is like that.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and then from here we just kind of hold it. It's at a set temperature right now. Once the fermentation is done, these tanks are all lined with glycol, just a food grade antifreeze. So we can cool these down rapidly. So we'll bring it down to near freezing temperatures, and all that yeast that's in there is going to kind of settle out and start that filtration process.
Okay.
We'll reuse the yeast too if it's healthy. We can reuse it batch to batch. As soon as this beer is done fermenting, it's really active, ready to go. If we got another batch of something that uses that same
So how many
yeast.
batches could you use that for then?
This would be the 3rd generation of this one.
Does it change the way the next batch?
As long as it's healthy, it should be good. Yeah, but continually using it over and over, you're going to kind of get a little bit less healthy yeast every time.
Right.
You know, I usually go. You know, there's some breweries that can go up for maybe 20 generations of the same yeast or something, maybe more than that. But, one thing that I like to do, just having a lot of styles, I like to use a lot of different yeasts.
Okay.
It's a really important part of like the overall just flavor profiles you get. So using different yeasts is really going to distinguish your beers a lot. So, you know, if we can get a lot of generations out of it, that's great. If not, you know, we just pitch some new healthy stuff. But I like to just kind of have a lot of different yeast going on in the brewery, just making all of our beers really unique.
So at any given time, how many of these tanks are you using?
Right now I've got a couple empty ones. We'll be filling them up next week. Kind of getting to that point of the year where we're just going to start stocking up for summer. So they'll stay full pretty much from now up until next winter. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of the process right there. One thing about this system, you know, we're in Minnesota, we're a brew pub, we can't actually distribute, so all of our beer is sold out of house. Yeah, which is, for me, it's a good thing. I don't look at it as a, you know, any sort of crutch or anything like that. Everything that's on tap, I know when it was made, I know where it's been, it hasn't left. There's,
right.
you know, you don't have some disgruntled worker kicking your kegs off the side of a truck or something like that. So let's say this beer is going to be done in a couple weeks. It's going to run through a filter and go through these transfer lines right here.
Okay.
And that goes all the way back behind the bar. We've got some holding tanks back there.
Okay. So when you were talking on the podcast about, like, it's just like whole efficient line, it's like right.
Yep.
Okay.
Start on that end, and we just kind of work our way towards the lake when you got a glass in your hand drinking that thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else? Anything else we need to know in the process?
I think that about covers it.
Cool.
Just that about
cool.
covers it.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And
thank you.
that's it